After rejecting a ceasefire call by Turkey and Russia last week, Warlord Khalifa Haftar changed his mind a few hours before it was due to go into effect.
The General Command of the Libyan Arab Armed Forces announces a ceasefire in the western side of Libya. The ceasefire starts from 1 minute past midnight on the 12th of January 2020. The other party should stop any type of military operation at the same time. We will respond harshly to any violation of this ceasefire.
In a joint press conference earlier, Vladimir Putin and Angela Merkel made their position clear. An end to the ongoing violence in Libya, including peace talks to take place in Berlin.
It is essential to put an end to the opposition between the Libyan National Army, led by Haftar, and the Government of National Accord.
Haftar's forces have been trying to seize the capital, Tripoli, from the UN-backed government. Their attempts have so far fallen short, but his forces have gained ground. Violence is escalating, with European and African leaders fearing the conflict could destabilize several countries. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has also called for fighting to stop. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is hoping Turkish-Russian efforts to secure peace will end in success and wants the United Nations involved.
We agreed to the conference in Berlin to be held very soon in order to start a process of a peaceful Libya.
The talks want to include Libya's warring parties, and Merkel says they will no doubt have to play a significant role to help end the conflict.
When we think there is so much disunity in the international community that they have to have a conference about finding a unified position amongst themselves before they can even bring Libyans to the table.
Haftar has been backed by Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, France and Russia, while the UN-backed government by Turkey. The fact that both warring factions have now agreed to a ceasefire does not mean an end to hostilities, especially with the UN-backed government demanding that Haftar's forces pull out from southern Tripoli as a prerequisite to any settlement in this conflict. Mahmoud Abdelwahed, Al Jazeera, Tripoli.
Well, William Lawrence is a professor of political science at George Washington University and also a former US diplomat. He says the negotiations led by Russia and Turkey have been useful.
What was really surprising about what happened is that Haftar agreed. And that was a direct result of Turkey-Russian negotiations, which were primarily about Syria, but also about Libya. And those of us that follow Syria and Libya closely see that the two negotiations have been connected, and it's probably the case, since the ceasefire benefits the Turks more than the Russians in Libya, that concessions were made on Syria. And of course, right now the Russians are trying to get more positions in Syria. All of this sort of sidelines the European Union as well and puts Turkey and Russia as the most important international brokers in the conflict in a way we haven't seen before. So everybody wants to see Libya stabilize, and a lot of countries put a bet on Haftar that he could do it, not really understanding the revolutionary context that prompted the whole problem in Libya and the fact that much of the West would never submit to an authoritarian state under Haftar. And so there's a lot of reassessing going on. The French have reassessed, even the Egyptians to a degree have reassessed. And not without distancing themselves from Haftar, everyone seems to be more in a position now than they even were 3-4 months ago to participate in good faith in the peace talks.